Good morning, everyone. Today is a really nice day because it's a day off from work, which means I get to spend a whole bunch of time playing League of Legends and doing some streams, lessons for the NTGL group and whatnot. This morning, we're going to start off with a request that was sent in asking if we would do a lesson on late game warding. Where do you put wards during the late game? How do you know where the good places for wards are? How many wards do you need? I'm going to take that and I'm going to expand on it a little bit because I'm going to do warding for the entire game, just so that there's kind of a warding guide in general out there. If you're interested specifically in the late game warding, that will probably be towards the later part of the session. What I'm going to do to show all this off is I'm going to start off a custom game. The reason I'm doing this is I will be the only champion in the game whatsoever, so that you don't have to worry about what's being seen, and I can sit there and not have to actually buy items. I can just spend all the gold that I need on wards, so that I can show where all the wards need to go. So we're going to create a game here. No bots. Yeah, I don't care if it's unbalanced. Champion I'm going to take to do this is Zac. The main reason being is he will be able to show why some wards are really strong, other wards not so much, particularly when dealing with jungle camps. It also gives me an excuse to take Smite, which will give me extra gold for wards. So, the general answer to how many wards do I need is yes. You want wards. The more wards you have, the better chance you have to win. Wards save lives, wards win games. So, the general answer to how many wards is enough wards is yes. I want wards. Past that point, it is kind of dependent on how much gold you have to spend on wards when you go back. A lot of people think the support is the only person who should be buying wards. That's wrong. Everyone should be buying wards. I'm not even going to worry too much about proper skills or anything in this place. I'm just going to buy... Alright, so, if you have standard gold, you can buy 6 wards at the start of the game. That's pretty interesting. So what we're going to do, even before the minions get here, we're just going to go ahead and walk in and show where wards should go. Supports do typically buy the most wards, mainly because the idea is you're trying to protect the AD carry from getting ganked and losing a whole bunch of gold every time they die because the creep waves get pushed up and whatnot. They typically purchase the most and are typically responsible for the most warding, but everyone should buy
everybody's a crack.
Buy wards. There's also 2 levels to warding. You can ward like you would see in solo queue, particularly in like your bronze, silver, probably even gold division. Or you can ward like the pros ward. The pros will take their entire 5-man team and walk straight into the opposing jungle, hopefully avoiding the other team. But even if they do, they have a 5v5 fight mapped out for level 1. And they'll start warding things like enemies blue buff, enemies red buff, which is over here. You see a lot of wards drop into this bush. You see a lot of wards drop in to one of the riverside bushes. While that's really good for pro play, you're not going to see that in solo queue, so we're not going to mess with that. A lot of times in solo queue, what you'll see is on the initial buy, the only person with wards is a support, and the support's going to be down here in the bot lane. They'll typically start with 3 wards, and the 3 places you'll see warded are one of these 2 bushes. If you're on, we're doing all this from the blue side, so if you're on the purple side, whatever you see here, mirror it. So blue side is probably going to attempt to ward this bush. And the reason you ward inside the bush is it gives you the vision of the bush even when you're not in it. Purple side, like I said, you mirror it. Instead of warding this bush,
I never
typically
skip
you're
breakfast.
warding this bush first. Other places that get warded. I was hoping to get a little gold there. Oh well. Initial wards go into this bush for both teams. Blue and purple on the bot lane will ward this spot because it gives you vision here.
How's it going?
You can be seen by a ward if you come up along this way. You can also be seen by a ward if you're coming straight through the river. Or you can be seen by a ward, as far as the blue
Fighting
team's
is in my
concerned,
blood.
if you come out
I mean,
through this jungle
I
exit.
do.
Because to get to the lane, you either have to pass right by it, right through it, or pass close enough by to this spot that you'll be seen by that ward.
I
So this
never
ward
skip
gives
breakfast.
pretty good, gives area vision along this area. It is a very nice initial ward. The downside to this ward is that you don't get much in the way of notice. Let's see, we can see, if we back away, the extreme site of the ward is right here. So if I'm a jungler, and I'm coming down out of purple's jungle, and I get to right
There's
here,
plenty of me to go around.
and you happen to see me right as I enter the ward. We started exactly 4 minutes. You have all of 5 seconds to get to safety
I'm not as squishy.
before I'm probably in range to use some sort of ability. So, all that ward gives you is 5 minutes notice.
I could really use a snack now.
Another common ward is to ward what's called the tri-bush, mainly because it looks kind of like a triangle. What this ward protects against is if the opposing jungler invades your jungle
Let's bounce.
and is coming from, like if they came and stole the red buff over here, and then they start to come to bot lane, if all you have as ward is this, you will
Fighting
never
is in
see
my blood. I mean,
a jungler sitting here.
who?
And if they push you back into your turret, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds at best to be
Why, thanks.
to notice
I
that
do look out.
they have a 4-second move time to get to here. That's pretty short, and if you're playing someone like Zac, I mean that's like 2 seconds max. And so I mean it's a very nice place to gank from if it's not warded. So a lot of times the 3 initial wards for bot lane will go in the furthest bush in the lane. They'll go here in this river bush, and here in this tri-bush. As the game
Everybody's a crack.
wears on, the next place bot lane will ward, and this will typically be after a first back. So probably not even at this point in the game. This is probably closer to like 7, 8
I
minutes
may
into the
bend,
game.
but I
Is
don't
you will
break.
see wards, instead of going into this bush, they'll ward this tri-bush because it gives vision here, and they'll come all the way out to here to ward.
Mom
what that
said
does,
that was big for my
You still get vision of anyone coming down the river, anyone coming out of the jungle. You also get vision of the dragon. So if some jungler does
Just
something
another
weird,
day on the job.
like Zac or Jarvan, does something weird like I'm here and I hop the wall, you actually see them as soon as they start attacking the dragon.
Put some spring in your step.
So what all that will do is it gives you control of the dragon. You're able to tell if the other team's trying to do it, and you still get most of the warding that you would get from this bush. The one place you don't get is if someone was to like somehow appear right here, you wouldn't see them. But most of the time, the only way they're going to appear there is if they come through this tri-bush, which you will have
I'm
warded.
not as squishy as I look.
So, I'm going to go earn a little bit of gold real quick and save my tower so that I can buy more wards, and we'll go to the other lanes. Alright, so we're going to go back to base. Let's see, Moore says, I prefer to ward in between the dragon and the river mouth bush. Okay, so you're talking like this area right here. I don't know if you can see the cursor, but kind of across from that rock in the dragon. up against the rock. That's a nice ward too, because I mean it gives you vision here, prevents you against the, means you might be able to get away without warding that tri-bush, but still you have to worry about people invading here. The other advantage it has is if you place it against the far edge of the rock and the opposing team drops a pink ward over here, your ward won't be spotted by their pink ward and it won't get destroyed, whereas this spot is very commonly warded and typically done with pink wards, and you have supports fighting over control of that spot. The downside is I don't know exactly where you have to put the ward to get vision into the dragon pit. Now, you may say, if you're fighting against a jungler who doesn't have some sort of crazy wall hop, you may say they're not going to waste flash to try and trick me into doing dragon without passing by an area that we're going to see. But if you're facing against a Zac or a Jarvan, that's something to be concerned about too, is you want vision inside the dragon pit. Don't worry about the inside of the pit, just the mouth of it and the exit from the blue jungle. Yeah. Not
Get a suit.
right before I leave, I need to actually buy the wards. If you're a support, get used to buying Sightstone. It's kind of expensive, but it gives you free wards. And we're going to pick it up because eventually we're going to want it.
I could really use a snack right now.
Yeah, most of the time, people trying to do dragon actually do tease the dragon out of the pit and fight in the river, just so they're not caught in this nice circular area for your team to gang up on and kill. I like having vision inside the pit, particularly against those junglers who do wall hops. Heaven forbid a Nasus who can solo dragon at level 6 or a Nunu actually decide, you know what, using my flash to get dragon for free is a completely useful use of my cooldown. Other ward areas, if you're in the mid lane, places you want to ward early in the game, either of these river bushes. You can ward either one or both. Typically, since you're trying to save gold for your big AP items, you ward one side. And the trick at that point is whenever you're fighting in lane, you kinda edge towards that side, because you have vision here. If someone's to appear right here, you'll see that coming and be able to walk away. Whereas if you put the ward here, but you're working over here, I mean, you have no idea what's in that bush. So that's a common first ward placement. Later in the game, places mid lane might ward, particularly if the support isn't able to get up there to ward them for him, is this bush. And kind of do it in the corner. Gives you vision almost to the mouth of the dragon pit in and of itself. Makes a very good combination with this if you put a ward here. So if you have, let's see, if I put the ward there and I have a ward here, and then I eventually get Zac out of the way, you see that I don't have vision right at the mouth, but all the way up to here and all the way to here I have vision. So with these two wards alone, I have vision of almost the entire river. That's very nice ward placement.
Another day on the job.
Other place you'll see wards go, either by the jungler or the mid lane or the support or someone, is this ward right here. What this gives you vision of, if someone enters your jungle, you'll see them enter the jungle here. If they'd gone through the tri-bush and then they disappeared and you don't know where they went, and they come around because they stole red buff or they're trying to gank the mid lane, you'll see them as they enter the bush, and it gives a little bit of warning if someone tries to like come steal your wraiths or something. So this ward is good. The accompanying place on the purple side is right here. So that's a fairly common ward.
I should get a suit.
Like I said, you can ward either of these river bushes in mid lane. As the game wears on, you might decide I want to take my wards further out, and again, you might ward this bush if you want to ward against top lane coming down instead of bot lane coming up. It works similar to this ward, it's just on the opposite side. I actually like warding this bush since it gives... If you manage to nick the edge of the bush, you do get vision if someone's hugging this edge coming out of the jungle. And it means you don't have to come all the way up here toward this jungle entrance. Top lane, early game, your wards go into this bush to prevent ganks. Very similar to warding this bush in bot lane. So your ward goes here.
There's plenty of me to go.
And if you ever push towards the turret, your ward goes here. If you're on the purple side,
put some spring in your step.
This is the most important one if you're on the purple side, because for them to get here, you have to have the jungler come through. But still, important ward here. These are the two important wards early game for top lane.
How's it going?
Top lane does not typically ward these bushes because your top laners are melee champions, and almost always melee champions. And if you're fighting with each other, you're not going to be fighting in these bushes. They typically don't get warded, but if you have extra money and an extra ward, or you've picked up Wriggle's Lantern, there's nothing wrong with warding either or both of those bushes.
But I don't.
Alright, pick up a little bit more gold. We're out of wards, so we're going to go back to base. So that's the early game warding spots. The idea is to establish control primarily over your lane, which is what warding here, here, and here do. If you're bot lane, provide you with safety in at least one direction, which is warding these bushes, or providing you safety from jungle ganks when you're solo top by placing wards here and here. Those are the important early game wards. You're trying to provide yourself lane domination, lane safety, and also kind of keep an eye on Dragon once you get past, call it the 7-minute mark. You want to keep eyes on that Dragon. So, all the wards last for 4 minutes. So every 4 minutes, you definitely want to get at least 1 or 2 of those wards out. If you can get all 3, even better. That's part of the reason supports, in particular, buy sight stones, because every time you go back to base, you get 4 wards. You can only have 2 of them out at a time, but between these 2 and a pink ward for the Dragon, that gives you the lane presence that you need there. The top lane and mid lane should buy 1 ward every time they go back to ward at least this if you're blue, and 1 of these side bushes. It'd be nice if they bought more. Every once in a while the jungler will be really nice and provide you a little bit of extra warding too, because it helps them with ganks if they know what goes in those bushes. So that's your early game spots. If you're a jungler, where you ward is kind of dependent on how your jungle's going. If your jungle is continuously invaded, you will actually start coming by and warding these buff spots so that you have vision inside the buff. So like where I'm standing right now, we place the ward here, and yes, we still have vision of the buff. What this does, this prevents them from coming in and stealing your blue without you at least knowing about it. And if you see them come steal your blue, you have your top laner come down, bother them. You come from wherever you are, come bother them. You try to catch the jungler out of position because they're counter-jungling you. If their jungler isn't counter-jungling you, the places you want warded typically are what they call the entrances and exits of the jungle. These tend to be the same places that top bot lane ward, because that's where most of the ganks are going to come from too. So places you would see warded, you might ward this bush, particularly once this turret's gone. You can place wards here. Gives you vision of Baron and gives you vision of this exit.
Fighting is in my blood.
These corner bushes that I said that mid lane can ward also give vision, entrance, exit. You get vision of both of those. So helps push the right button. That's a nice ward because it gives you entrance and exit vision there. Same thing down here. Ward here for vision. Ward here if you're on purple side and you're wanting to protect your buff. It's harder to protect the red buff because you have to ward here, and it's not a very good spot to see much of what's going on elsewhere if you actually get vision of the buff itself.
There's plenty of me to go around.
Because what you would like to do is have a ward right where I'm standing, so that you see the buff and inside the bush. And you don't even get vision of the full buff. You get vision... Oh, no. Okay, that ward was badly placed. It is possible to get the ward just inside the bush. Okay, yeah. Right in that corner of the bush gives you vision of the buff and inside the bush. Gives you vision down here, but does not give you vision on any of the common jungling paths. So
Mom always said I was big for my age.
It's difficult to protect the red buff. Same thing would go true for the purple side.
I'm not as squishy.
The next stage of warding is for when towers start going down. Towers do two things that are very important. One, they give you a safe place to retreat to. That's what most everyone thinks of when they talk about, hey, I'm falling back to the tower. It gives me protection. The other thing towers do is they give vision. You can see right now, even though there's nothing there, I can see all along my towers. But here, where a tower has been destroyed, I have no vision here. That means someone on the purple team can come down bot lane, not be seen, not be seen, not be seen, not be seen, pass through here, bypassing all of our common ward placements, come up along here. If you don't have a ward in this tri-bush, then come all the way up to here and hide without you having ever seen them. Typically bot lane does have this warded, so it's not quite so bad. That's another reason that even after this tower is gone, you keep warding this bush. It prevents them from sneaking into this area unseen. What I want to do now is to get rid of one of the mid lane towers to show how that works.
There's plenty of me to go around.
So we're going to go up to mid lane. We'll burn everything to get there. And I'm going to take a little bit of time to knock down a mid tower. Actually, I might be able to survive the turret long enough. Okay. Oh, that's convenient.
Well, now I'm just mad.
So, you've lost your mid tower. Eventually, our minions will all die, and I'm trying to push them into their tower so that we don't have vision here. Okay, so after this tower goes down, what you lose is,
Let's bounce.
except when your minions are in lane, you have no vision from here all the way back to about here. That's a long area not to have vision, and the junglers can pass through the river. They can pass through outside the river, which keeps them from being spotted by any wards you might have in the river. So a lot of times what you'll see are wards go here, almost where the tower used to be, because it gives you vision if they pass through the middle of the lane, up here, or it gives you vision if they try to sneak around outside the river and they pass through here. You get vision here as well. So this ward is a good, I've lost my tower and I'm afraid of my jungler passing through, or afraid of their jungler passing through unseen to get to either the top or bottom lane, or just to prevent movement across the map. So that's what this ward's for. The same goes true if you destroy the opposing tower. If you destroy the opposing tower, so your minions aren't going to get stopped here often, they're going to be pushed all the way up to here. You'll also see wards go down both sides. If you're on blue side, you ward this for defensive options, and you ward this for offensive options. If you're on the purple side, that gets replaced.
Another day on the job.
But because your minions don't get stopped here, you want vision here. So these are two good mid-game wards for once the towers start going down. Let's see if I can get a tiny bit of gold here. Alright, so the turret gives us enough gold. We can keep talking this. The last thing to look into is what do you do for late game warding. Late game warding, two things become really important. Well, three things are really important. You want dragon control still. The support's still going to keep putting pinks down here in front of the dragon, hopefully. More important is control over this Baron area. You want to know if the other team ever tries to make an attempt on this, because it is very easy to kill the opposing team. If they come in here and start wailing on the Baron, your whole team collapses and you catch them in the pit. So to see if they're going to go to Baron, you'll typically put one ward either out here in the river, or if you know this has already been pinked because you've had a ward there and it got destroyed, you might actually come into the Baron pit and place it like behind this rock or something. That prevents it from being seen by the pink ward, but doesn't give you any vision or much vision in the river.
Plenty of me to go around.
All that does is give you vision of the pit and a little bit of vision outside. Not much. So typically you would like to place a ward here. And that's just to be aware if someone's going to attempt the Baron. If your team is coming to do the Baron because you've won a team fight, there's 5 of you up, there's only 1 of them, you want to ward this place to hell and back.
I may but I don't.
You want every entrance into this river warded. So you want a ward here, you want a ward over here. If you're on the blue team, you might be able to get away with not warding this area here on your side because you assume their team's going to come from their jungle.
I never skip breakfast.
You want a ward here. You can see I placed 2 wards, my extra ward disappeared. But, so yeah, wards here, 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 and here. There, except in the bush. You want the ward in the bush. What that does, that gives you vision. If the enemy team comes from anywhere, you will see them. If their team has a lot of people who jump walls, you also want to walk all the way up to here and place a ward either here or up here. And I can't place one right now because I'm out. But placing wards here or here gives you vision of this whole back wall so no one can do this. Jump in and immediately smite the Baron. So yeah, to do Baron well takes 5 wards, and at least one of them should probably be pink, or your support should be wearing oracles. So we're gonna go upgrade our sightstone, and we're gonna buy more wards.
Just another day on the job.
The whole while this is going on, you still have to keep areas warded for your lanes. You still have to ward your jungle buffs if you start noticing their jungle starts doing it. So at this point, if you're getting ready to do Baron, your team's getting ready to do Baron, chances are you've probably got 10, 12 wards down on the map.
Fighting is in my blood. I mean,
the last warding set that you will see in game is once you get pushed all the way back into your base. Places you want to ward are just outside of your base along this circle. The reason you do that is you want to see which turret the opposing team is going to, but you want to be able to place the wards while remaining safely inside your base. So what you can do is you can drop wards over the wall. You're safe. They can't hit you, but you get vision if they go to either side if you actually drop the ward correctly. Okay, really?
Mom always said I was big for my age.
Your team has destroyed.
I know you can drop a ward over this wall. Okay, fair. There. That's not exactly where I want it, but still. Over the wall. Drop wards over the wall so that you get vision off to the sides without having to expose yourself. If you're on the offensive side of that, you do the exact same thing, except you want to drop wards inside the base. So, if I'm purple, I want to drop a ward here, and I want to come over and do the same thing over here, because that gives me vision inside the base where the turrets won't see them, because turrets can see invisible things like wards. And so I can see if their team shifts left to deal with a minion wave, I know as purple team, I immediately want to shift down here to the bot lane to take out this turret. I have to save this turret because I don't want the minions to end the game yet. Alright, so, all that said, those are the common warding locations. We talked about Baron Pit, we still talked about Dragon, we talked about the lanes. I guess the one thing we didn't talk about is how to protect yourself when you're split pushing. Looks like this lane will be the best because there's a turret missing. So, if you're a split pusher, what you want to do is make sure you're not caught completely unaware of what's going on. On your side of the jungler, on your side of the map, it's not quite so important because, again, the support's going to have this warded. And you're going to have... the support has probably warded here. If you're top lane, there's a ward here probably, or here. But once you get past once you get past the river, you have to start trying to ward for yourself to make sure you don't get caught out while you're split pushing. So the places you ward are just all the entrances into the lane that you pass by. As you pass by an entrance, you place a ward. So I pass by that entrance, I place a ward there. I'm not going to get ganked from here. If I manage to push up to here, the best place to throw the ward is here. It does two things. One, you're not going to get caught out from behind while you're trying to take this turret. And two, you actually get vision of the opposing opposing team's buff. And so you might be able to steal it. Once you push past this turret, you're starting to make that base push, and your wards go. You can place a ward here, so you don't get caught from the side while you're taking the turret, or you can start doing what we just talked about and placing wards over the wall. So if you're a split pusher, this is what your lane's going to look like to prevent you from being ganked while you're split pushing. If you're having to split push really late and their team's pushing your base, you might also want to ward here and here, but chances are you don't have enough gold to buy 7 wards. So the really important ones are, as you push, you got to have one somewhere in the river, one at the entrance just past the river. That's a very common place for, if you're split pushing, you'll typically get stalled right about here as their champions prevent you to get from the tower, and you'll have the opposing team walk through their jungle, which if you're here, you might not have gotten to this ward yet. But they're going to try to come from behind as you get to right here, and they'll come through this bush. So this bush, very important. Once you get up to the turret or past this turret, this bush becomes very important, and you want to keep both of them warded, because if you ward this one but you don't ward this one, you can see the opposing team come through the river, up through here, pass through the tri-bush, and come up from behind, and the warning you'll get is when your minions start dying. So that's where you'll see split pushes. So I got one more thing to do before we call the warding lesson complete. If there's anyone listening and you have other ideas of where wards should be, now's a good time to throw those out there. I'm going to buy as many wards as possible. I should have saved enough money to pick up boots. Oh, well, I think I can make it across the map in 4 minutes. What does a map look like for a team when it's fully warded? So this will probably be representative of a mid-game, because late game wards do tend to fall off as people start running out of space in their inventory. So this is what a map would look like when it's warded, that early mid-game, when vision is so essential to keeping yourself alive. So bot lane, wards there. Can ward here or here. You might see a ward up here.
I could really use a snack.
Trying to get vision of that buff. You'll see a ward here. Wards there. Ward here. If a turret is already gone, you'll see a ward there. You could have a ward there, depending on which side they do. You'd have one or the other probably. Have that ward. That ward.
Why, thanks. I do work out.
You have a ward in this tri-bush. Ward in this bush.
I'm not as squishy as I look.
And then, if you're being countered jungled, other places you'll have wards. You might have one here, or inside this bush. Just use that to jump over the map faster. Try to get there before all my wards go out. You might see a ward here. And here. So yeah, a fully warded map where everyone's buying wards and everyone's trying to protect them will look something like this. Just looking at the mini-map section here. You have very good vision around the dragon. You have a little bit of vision around the Baron. You'll know if someone gets near it. If it's late enough in the game you have to worry about Baron, there will be an extra ward here. This prevents counter jungling. If you're counter jungling, you'll actually get what are called advanced wards. And these are if your team's doing really, really well. But you'll essentially come up and place wards inside the enemy jungle. And these are very akin to the wards for...
I never skip breakfast.
If you're split pushing, these wards are very useful to split pushers. So you might have a ward there. And if you're going to try to counter jungle red,
Fighting is in my blood.
I don't have enough wards for both of them, unfortunately. Okay. This one's probably the most important one. You'd probably also want to ward this location if you're trying to steal red. So all that's from the blue side. If you're on the purple side, take that entire mini-map, flip it upside down. But we can sit here and look, ignoring the advanced wards for the counter jungling. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One of these, 7. Maybe that one if the turret's down, which is 8, 9, 10. And these have already started to expire. But there were 2 down here, so that's 10. And then 1 or 2 out here. So somewhere between 8 and 12 wards on the map at any given time. That's what it looks like if you're warding well. And you notice that, at least up until the point where they started expiring, we had vision of almost the entire map. What that gives you is you're not going to get ganked. The people who are all farming on their own aren't going to get caught out. If you want to move through the jungle and catch one of their teams in the jungle, you're going to know where they are and know how to get around. If the opposing team places wards, you'll see them. If the opposing team starts placing pink wards, you'll know because you'll have black spots on the map. And you'll know that as bad as Fog of War normally is, that particular Fog of War is even worse. So, now granted, like I said, that's if the entire team is warding. A support cannot afford 14 wards. You notice this entire lesson, all I've done is buy wards. I have no items. And when we exit the game, we'll see how much gold I had, because I spent almost all of it on wards. All wards and 2 ruby crystals. So, alright, so that's kind of how that goes. If there's anyone out there watching, does anyone have any questions, comments, things that should have been seen, things you'd like, other places you think should be warded?
Your inhibitor has been destroyed.
Alright, so I don't suffer the ignominy of losing to minions only. We're going to go ahead and end this game. Oh, we actually don't get to see stats. Huh. That's too bad. But no, that was a ton of wards. And like I said, that requires the entire team to be warding. Typically, one or two of those is taken care of by the top lane, 1 or 2 is taken care of by the mid lane. Support's doing a majority of it. It's probably got 4 or 5 out there, a couple of pinks, and whatever she can get down from the sight stone. And the jungler hopefully has warded their jungle entrances. But if you have top lane with 1, mid lane with 1, jungle with 1 or 2, we'll call it 1, and the support does 3 from a ruby sight stone and a pink ward. That alone is 7 wards. That is almost enough to do what we just did. That was 12 wards, so it's about half. But not all of those are drastic and have to be up 24/7. Having 7 wards out on the map is very nice. The trick's going to be, do you get your mid laner to buy wards? Do you get your top laner to buy wards? Because they don't like to buy wards. The AD carry will almost never buy wards no matter what happens. If you find an AD carry willing to buy wards to help their support out, praise them, put them on your friends list, invite them to join the NTGL, and tell them to get up to level 30 to come play with us, because we would love to have them. So yes, that there is kind of an idea about warding. Later today, I'm going to play some games as support, and I'll focus on doing commentary on my warding and why I'm placing wards where I am. That will be here probably in just a little bit. If you want to see a visual map of where people say to place wards, this is League of Legends 101. It's a website that was dedicated to new players joining League of Legends. I don't think it's up to date completely, because they talk about Wriggle's Lantern only being 1600 gold, and I don't think that's right anymore. Yeah, because they still talk about the bonus chance of dealing damage where it's now regular damage. But what's really important is this little map right here. This map shows common warding places and gives a description of what the different colored dots mean. You see, it says the reds. This is all from the blue perspective, I think, because they talk about warding jungle entrances. But probably is true from the purple side too. The red dots are those top lane early wards that we talked about. The orange dots are, the orange dots are the bot lane wards. The green ones are the ones for protecting your jungle or attacking the opposing jungle. These yellow ones are the 2 riverside bushes, one of which will be used. You'll probably use one of them. If you want to be really safe, you can ward both of them. But you'll typically only have, mid lane will typically only have the 1 ward, so they'll ward one of them. And the 2 pink ones are where you typically see pink wards placed, because they want Vision of the Dragon and the Baron. The other ones that we talked about, warding your buffs here, so that you have them protected. Also on the side of the dragon pit, so that you don't get caught up by the pink ward while still maintaining vision of this area. So this little map is good. This link, I'm going to post it to the Newbie Tuesday forums. If you're not part of Newbie Tuesday and you want to go find this link, one, it's here on the stream. I think you're able to read it, but if you search for League of Legends 101 warding, you'll get to this. Also, you could join the NTGL. There's a link at the bottom of the stream. Go click it. Come join us. We'll have fun. I'm not above a little plug there. So I am going to post that here in just a little bit, so that goes along with this stream. Actually, I will. I don't think there's anyone in chat, so just in case, there's that link. So yeah, this is a nice map to have as a reference tool for when you're actually in a game. It kind of gives you an idea of where you might place your wards to. Alright, so with that, that's going to conclude the warded lesson. I'm going to take a quick break and then come back and do a very short discussion on another requested topic. How do you know when to do Baron / Dragon / split push? Unfortunately, there's no good way to show that outside of a regular game, and that requires the game to actually go in such a way that that becomes useful. So I'm going to take a short break, see if I can find a video where that's already happened, and then use that to show this is when you go split push. So, I'm going to take a short break. Be back probably in the next 10-15 minutes or so, doing a little bit about timing of objective, how to time objective taking and split pushing, and then after that we're going to get into a bunch of games where hopefully you'll get to see a lot of this warding happen, and we'll make a conscious effort to talk about the ward placement and the timing of split pushing and objective taking in those games. So hope that was helpful to people. This will be posted on the forums and probably will get exported to YouTube, so it'll be out there for everyone to go take a look at. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back in about 10-15 minutes.